It's only when we go in and start trying to improve ourselves, when we try to improve our beliefs, when we try to improve our health, when we try to improve the outlooks that we have on life, the relationships that we have, that's where all of a sudden our capacity will start to double and triple and quadruple. And now we will have greater success with less energy. Welcome to an episode of Money Therapy, and I'll be your host today. My name is Brandan Chasteen, and today is going to look a little different because it's going to just be me speaking with you. And I want to take a couple minutes to talk about something that has been part of many conversations over the past couple months, but really starting to accelerate. So I think that this can be relevant for a lot of people that are listening. Um, the conversation that I want to have today, or the thoughts that I want to provoke, are going to be important for a group of people that are listening who are really trying their hardest to elevate themselves, elevate their financial kind of landscape, their position, trying to reach a point of financial freedom or be at least be on track to really becoming these financial stewards that are achieving financial success, obtaining financial peace of mind, really creating a place of safety for themselves and their families. I work a lot with small business owners or entrepreneurs or people that are kind of in charge of their own income, right? Salespeople, those 1099 positions where you have a lot of ways to create wealth. And the idea here is, well, if I just try a little more, if I try a little harder, I should be able to make it. And I meet people, it seems like lately, almost every day, who are just kind of tired. They're at a place where they're just exhausted. I hear the words in meetings that, Brandon, I'm trying everything. I'm wore out. Nothing seems to be coming together. The word trying really just stuck out to me. And I started kind of thinking back over conversations, different conversations with different people, thinking to some of my more successful clients, and just asking myself, how hard are they trying to increase their wealth? It kind of boils down in my mind that people that have created success, they're not necessarily trying as hard as the people that can't have it. So if you can just ask yourself, am I trying? If I don't have the financial success that I want, how hard am I trying? And if the answer is really hard, I want to propose a couple thoughts or ideas. I'll just let you chew on them this week. So again, this should be a much shorter show, um, and hopefully the what you take away from this is I need to think about how hard I am trying, and then ask yourself, if I try harder, will it work? And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, if you're going to try harder, it may not actually work. In thinking about kind of like laws of physics, right? We know that energy is much harder to create than it is to maintain. So a lot of people that have found success in finance, they're not having to create new energy all the time. So it can give the appearance that they're not trying near as hard as someone who's trying to create it. Right? We all know those people. People come to mind, and they're like, "Man, I know that I'm working 10 times harder than Brandon, uh, but he seems to have more and not be trying as hard as I am." Right? And I use that as an example, but we all know those people in our lives who seem to try less and have or find more success. And I am very interested in why. And again, for me, looking at that these laws tied to creating energy versus sustaining energy, the amount of effort that is required is very, very different. Let me ask you a question. If I were to make this incredibly powerful jet engine and I strap this jet engine to a person's bicycle, all right, the bicycle's going to go, right? It's going to go faster than it would without the jet engine for sure. But oftentimes it will probably just lead to disaster in all honesty. But if I put that same jet engine on, let's say a car. So let's think of like a Formula One race car, right? If I put that engine into a Formula One race car, it will go further and faster than it would strapping it to a bicycle. But also at the same time, there's still certain max capacities. There's still a certain max speed or max distance that Formula One race car is going to go. All right. If I take that same jet engine and strap it to an actual jet, then we are going to get further and faster than we would even in a Formula One race car, right? We could go further and faster and probably need to use less energy, less maximum effort out of that jet engine to go further and faster. What I think oftentimes people are doing is they're focusing on tying more to a chassis or a belief structure of what they think and feel and believe. They're so focused on getting the most energy out of what their current capacity is that they're not considering perhaps I go back and look at changing the belief structure, or in this terms the chassis, the vehicle that we're using. I think that each one of us as professional people can always make ourselves better by looking at our skill sets and increasing our skills. Okay. Very valid. If I am, as a financial planner, I can go in and learn more about the skills I need to be able to do more for the clients I serve. Another place that people can focus is oftentimes they can focus on the tool set that they have, right? So if I think, oh man, this is a really great tool, this would, my clients would value this tool more than anything, any other tool that I have, I can oftentimes acquire new tools and present a better product because of the tools that I'm using to show what I'm trying to accomplish for people. All right, we can do this with anything. If you're in sales, you can increase your skill set in sales. You can increase your knowledge about the tools or the services you're selling. We can focus more on, well, this if I work here, they're the tools that they allow me to have to deliver my sales, my product or whatever the proposal that I can make. It's just better. We're always focused on the skill set and the tool set, but most people, and this is where I start to draw a line between people that are trying to have success and people that are finding success. They tend to forget a third common thing that we can improve, and that is our belief structure. What we believe in, who we are as people, our identity, our values. And when I meet successful people that try less and have greater success, it's because they tend to spend most of their time thinking about how can I improve myself. And that's what I want to offer you today is if you're exhausted and trying really, really hard, right? Ask yourself, have you been focusing on the skills and the tools, or have you been focusing on improving yourself? And how do we go about improving ourselves? I think that goes into developing an identity of who we are as people, finding value in who we are as a human being. What value do I bring to the table? And how do I improve that value for everyone that I come in contact with? so that I can deliver more and more value as a human being. I would argue that when we increase our value because we restructure our beliefs, our identity, and what it is we are trying to ultimately accomplish, adding value to people's lives, that is when we can kind of 10x our capacity and really start to level up our success with less effort and energy. So, the big thing that I want to convey here is that if you're exhausted and you're trying and it's not working, stop focusing on the skills and the tools and start focusing on yourself. Ask yourself, what kind of beliefs do I have that are limiting me, right? My beliefs form a capacity. Most people are trying and they're maximizing their capacity. But the thing is that if we restructure our beliefs, our capacity will start to accelerate. We'll have greater capacity. So we'll be able to find more success quicker with less effort. We won't have to maximize our capacity per se. The difference between capacity and potential, or the difference between capacity and a more efficient and developed sense of beliefs that increase our capacity, that's where we get our potential. And so how do we start questioning our beliefs? And we have a few episodes that I would invite you to listen to, one of them being the 10 lies. It's a two episode event. We had to break it up because it was just pretty long. But I would go back and listen to those. And the whole thing is there's not just 10 lies that we tend to believe that are self-limiting beliefs. There's hundreds or thousands. Maybe all of our beliefs are limiting us. But the 10 examples that we give can start to cultivate this desire for us to seek out other beliefs. And one thing that I would offer to everyone here is that when you start taking inventory of your beliefs by saying, "Hey, what do I think is true? What do I think is true about time? What do I think is true about the relationship of time and money? What do I think is true about my value? What do I think is true about what to do with my money when I have it?" If we start questioning these things and we say, "Hey, this is what I believe," pause with that and just think about what the opposite of that belief would be and start entertaining the idea that all those opposites can also be true. And I'll give you an example. Working with a client just last week, the belief that this client had is, debt is bad. And oftentimes we are told, debt is a bad thing and we need to stay away from it. And while debt can be devastating and it's not right for everyone, and there's a lot of risk that you take on some risk when you have debt. This client didn't even consider all that. They just considered their belief that debt is bad. In talking to the client, this particular situation, the client has a home recently purchased, and the home was purchased with just an incredible interest rate. Um, the client bought the home and was told by her company that she was going to be working locally here in the greater Nashville area for quite some time, upwards of 10 plus years. And with some restructuring in the company, now all of a sudden they're asking her to move again. And so one of the things that she's considering is selling her home, but the market's been depreciated a little bit just because of higher interest rates and all the things that come with that. When we started talking, I knew advice that I could give to improve her situation. Excuse me, but the big thing that I needed to do first was challenge her beliefs. So what we do? We said, okay, if you believe debt is bad, what's the very opposite of that? And the outcome of that was debt is not bad, or at least not all the time. And that started to open up other questions. It started to open up other possibilities, possible solutions. And it was important to start exploring those. And we use that change of belief to change the potential solutions for her current dilemma. And through that conversation, the strategy now that we're incorporating is going to propel her. Not only is it going to increase her cash flow, but she's not having to kind of squeeze this peg into a square hole, right? I say all that to say that while her circumstance is very unique to her, and I would never suggest that you take anyone's advice over a podcast or YouTube video or anything like that as good advice for you right now. The one good advice piece that would come out of that is that by simply challenging her beliefs and thinking about other potential beliefs that we could embrace, it really created a new capacity for her. I would almost suggest that every single person listening to this believes something. And where we get our beliefs from typically is from our family as we're growing up. We get them from um, life experiences. Some of them aren't even ours. Some of them we observe people that we love or people that we know going through things, and the things they go through can create kind of it can create or it can reinforce beliefs that we have. I think that that is really where most of our beliefs come from. Sometimes we actually go through certain experiences or we try something new and it doesn't work out. So that can also not only create new beliefs but reinforce certain beliefs that we have. I would just suggest that while we all have beliefs about life, about money, about all these things, I think it's important to suggest that our beliefs aren't exactly the right beliefs to hold forever. Sometimes when we're going through stuff, the beliefs that we kind of hold on to are meant to protect us for a certain period of time. And a lot of times, like as human beings, we're trying to survive and we're trying to improve. And so many times, out of an effort to protect ourselves and improve our current circumstances, those beliefs that served a purpose for a short amount of time become limiting beliefs later on in life when the conditions have changed. So I want to just suggest that you start exploring the thoughts that you have around money. And by tying into money therapy, we're going to poke and prod these beliefs time and time again. But I really do think that you can go back through some other episodes and start to realize, hey, there's certain beliefs that I have about myself and about money and about wealth and about my family that were true. And maybe they are still true, but if they're true, something else can be true as well. Two truths can coexist. And sometimes two truths can exist and they conflict with one another. And that's that gestalt kind of thing. These two truths that seem to oppose are part of a bigger, greater story. And the whole is also really important to consider. So I understand this talk might be a little bit vague or theoretical, but I think if you're listening to this, my suggestion for this week is that you just take inventory of things that you believe, especially if you're trying as hard as you possibly can. Let's not focus on the tools. Let's not focus on the skills. Let's focus on ourselves. Ask ourselves, what do we believe? What is my identity? And of that identity, what beliefs do I have? And what are the opposite beliefs? And let's try to grow ourselves a little bit this week by considering the opposites of our truth and just saying, okay, if this is true, then this could be true also. And if this is true, what does that mean for me? Let's focus there. And if you want to have more conversations about it, reach out to me. If you think you know of certain beliefs that you might have that might be limiting, send me an email or reach out, leave a comment on some limiting beliefs that you might have that you want challenged. And we'll challenge them together and not just leave you empty, but give you beliefs that could replace the ones that have just become less true, that hopefully will increase your maximum capacity. And that's what I want to leave you with this week. A little bit of a monologue here, but my hope in this chat again is just understanding, if you're only going to focus on the skills and tools that you have, you're not changing your capacity. So you're always going to be working at 100% capacity to achieve less than the success that you're wanting to realize. It's only when we go in and start trying to improve ourselves, when we try to improve our beliefs, when we try to improve our health, when we try to improve the outlooks that we have on life, the relationships that we have, that's where all of a sudden our capacity will start to double and triple and quadruple. And now we will have greater success with less energy and less effort given. I hope that makes sense. I don't have Bill here to challenge some of my thoughts and create the conversation today. But he'll be back. And we look forward to a next episode with you. Wanted to give you guys something to listen to. I hope that helps. Again, spend some time thinking about your beliefs, write them down, journal on them. If you have a belief about, spending money, saving money, write it down, think about the opposite and ask yourself, if this is true, maybe they're both true. What's the greater picture here? What am I missing? What am I lacking? What can I do to improve myself? Because I would bet that most people listening to this already have the right skills and the right tools. We just need to change the vehicle, and that vehicle is you. So look inward to develop this week. Think about things. Think about times that you have had tremendous success. Who was that person showing up then? What were they believing? Obviously, it was you. But what were your beliefs going in? Were you untouchable? Were you the best for the job? Were you at the right place, the right time, given all an effort? Do you care about people differently? Do you care about the outcomes differently? What are those values that you have, that you bring? And then if we're developing identity and establishing values, then we can also spend some time questioning beliefs and saying, hey, I need to get rid of some of these self-limiting beliefs. If we're going to get rid of self-limiting beliefs, we need to replace them immediately with some unlimited potential kind of beliefs. That is my thought. I appreciate you listening to Money Therapy today, and we'll be back next week, and we look forward to sharing more with you then. Bye.
We hope you learned something valuable today. We appreciate you including us in your journey towards financial betterment. It is important to us that you know this is for educational purposes only and not to be considered specific advice for any individual listener. If something we discussed is relevant to you and you have questions about how it might be uniquely applicable to you, please discuss that with a financial professional, or, of course, we are happy to have further conversations with you about your specific questions, needs, or circumstances. We welcome you to reach out to us via our website, harpethwealthpartners.com, or by emailing Brandan at bmc@harpethwealthpartners.com. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Harpeth Wealth Partners are separate entities from LPL Financial. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not to be intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult appropriate qualified professionals prior to making a decision. Investing includes risk, including fluctuating prices and loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Hypothetical examples presented are not representative of any specific investments. Your results may vary. We want to thank you for your time, and we look forward to having you back next week.